What's up, everybody? What's going on? What's happening?
Hey.
How are you?
What's happening?
We're gonna give y'all a few minutes to come in because we always gotta figure out our. It always tells me to swipe left.
Yeah, I think that's it.
That's it?
Yeah.
All right, come on in. Come on in.
What is happening? How y'all feeling?
We got some stuff to
today?
talk about tonight. Let me tie my hair up.
Can you watch your elbows, please?
My bad.
Okay.
Lean on me.
When you're not strong.
She's not the singer.
I am a singer.
Now I'll be your friend.
I'll help you carry on.
You changed 9 keys. What's happening, everybody? Come on in, come on in, come on in. Hope everybody's doing well. We got some things to talk about.
What is going on?
But before we get started, to make sure you can hear us, to make sure we're clear, make sure there's no glitching. All right, there we go. All right, we got some comments coming in. Just hashtag BMC real quick. Hashtag BMC. We always got to get it going with the hashtag BMC.
In the place to be.
Hashtag BMC.
Hashtag BMC. In the place
Now I'm
to
going to do
be.
this now because last time
I don't know why he ain't do it at the beginning, y'all, but
they were asking us to do it. All right, we're going to
all
pin
clear?
this.
Clear. How's everyone's Sunday going? How is it going, lovely people?
Hope everybody's doing good. As you can see, the topic today is in regards to communication, okay? What we did was we did a viewer's choice. And what we put out a post and we just said, hey, what would you guys like us to talk about? And so a lot of the responses, I'm going to just let you hear some of the responses. We got communication and comprehension. We got healing and communication. How to stay falling in love with your husband or wife. Communicating with spouse before making decisions. What else? Handling disagreement. Another response we got was how to respect each other and communicate even if you don't agree. And then another one was the influence of being around other couples, whether it's single, or dating, and how that affects the marriage, which is a communication thing also. Male and female friends that are not close to the husband or wife, well, not close to both the husband and wife, right? What are the lines that should be crossed, which requires a conversation, and transparency after infidelity. Yikes.
Ugh.
That definitely requires communication.
Yes.
So as people are coming in, we're going to give everybody 1 more minute to come on in. I'm glad you had a good church service today.
Yes, I was about to say Chelsea. Yeah,
What's
I hope
up?
I said it correctly, Chelsea.
Yeah.
But
It
yes.
might be Kelsey.
Kelsey.
Yeah, it might be Kelsey, right?
Yes.
And
I like
so real quick, just to formally introduce ourselves, my name is Artis Anderson,
And I'm Zedoria Anderson.
right? And we are the Andersons. But you said
You
we,
listen.
because you said we're not gonna do that no more.
Yes, we do. You just
Okay.
didn't you did it. You said it because you be saying it.
My last name
afterwards.
too. Okay.
Yeah.
My name is Artis,
And I'm Zedoria.
and we are the Andersons. Okay.
We're gonna get this together, y'all. One day. One day soon. Okay.
We are the founders of Forever Love, which is a relationship and consultant company to help people in their single life, their dating life, their relationship life, engagement life, and married life, and divorce life. So we handle all of the above. We are a consultant firm to help you figure out how to move forward through things. What up, Irma? What's going on?
Nah.
Oh, Erna. Oh yeah, Erna. So listen. In partnership with Black Marriage Club, we appreciate BMC for the opportunity to come in as the in-house coaching and consultant relationship firm to help you out with your marriages. We want to just be able to give you some tools to be successful, yada, yada, yada. That's it for that. The website is pinned. Check us out. So,
you
What's
over
up,
here like
Toya?
you? I got my ice today, y'all. I'm really like thirsty. I've been, yeah, it's hot out
Yeah,
here.
it's a little hot out here. It's about 100 degrees. I got my water
100
right
degrees,
here.
Marlon?
115 rather. I got my water right here.
I'm about to say, in Las Vegas, okay?
So clearly communication is a big deal. So we got to talk about it. Now listen, tonight's topic is communication really the issue? Parentheses, effective communication, okay? Now, my wife had to remind me this is not a seminar. And this is not a teaching class. But when it comes to communication, I go in and I go OD, okay? Okay, Kelsey, this is your first time seeing us live. Definitely appreciate you tuning in.
Oh, yes.
Right? We are very chill. We laid back. You know, we just trying to be successful. Make sure we help other people to be successful in relationships. So
Definitely.
when it comes to communication,
Yes, this is not a sermon. That's what you were saying.
yes,
Or a seminar.
It's not a seminar.
Or
It's not a class. This is a live discussion
Yes.
to help people
Yes.
communicate better.
Yes.
But I'm gonna give y'all some seminar stuff anyway.
Yes.
Because
A little
I can't
bit.
help it.
Yes.
Because communication is a very important subject to me. Because I've seen too many marriages fail. Too many relationships fail. Too many families fall apart. Too many friendships die off. Simply because of communication. But tonight, I want to give you a twist. I don't want to just talk about, appreciate you, Natalie, thank you. I don't want to just talk about communication the traditional way. Like, you know, step 1 to communication, articulate your words. And step 2, listening effectively. We all know you got to talk. We already know some of these things, right? Maybe, look, Nay, if you're watching, Nay, let's put together a communication seminar and with Forever Love, and let's give them this high-class information, because I definitely can't get to it on a live, but we got to set that up.
Y'all should see his notes, but for real, like real life, like I was like, he was like, "This is what we're gonna talk about today." I said,
Listen,
"Marlon,
when it comes to communication,
artists,
you get this.
We're not gonna talk about.
You get this work when it comes to communication. You gonna get this work. All right. All right. So in communicating.
Thanks, Nay.
Appreciate it, Nay. Let's get started. Y'all ready?
All
Y'all
right.
ready for the roller coaster? Let's go. When it comes to communicating, here's 6 things you need to know. Number 1, what are we communicating about?
Yes.
What are we communicating about? Number 2, why are we communicating about this? Number 3,
When are we communicating about this?
when are we communicating about this? Right? Number 4, you ready? Where are we communicating about this? Number 5,
I'll get it.
who are we communicating to about this?
To about this.
Exactly.
Yes. Mhm.
Number 6, how are we going to communicate about this? Is it going to be through text, phone, FaceTime, face-to-face, email? Are we mad? Are we sad? Are we frustrated? Is this the first conversation or the 5th conversation? Or is this something we've been talking about for 10 years? Like, this is the stuff we got to, figure out before we have a conversation. And here's the real deal. Are there any hidden issues or bumper issues between this conversation? As we're about to have this conversation, are you kind of like going to have other things you're going to throw into the conversation that's not really, planned? Or are you having this preliminary conversation to really throw in what you really want to talk about? Like, we have to see, there's so many things people don't take the time to really figure out before they have one conversation. Yes. When it comes to conversation, you can get this work. Because we communicate lazy. People communicate in a lazy way.
Okay,
that's what we have to improve.
This sexiness, y'all need to leave that for the
Okay, somebody need to get you a turn off the lights. Hey, light a candle. I see ya, Shoba Wale. Oh yeah, right? Get that love. Listen, here's the reality. These are things you have to ask yourself before you even start communicating. Mm-hmm. Now, when people talk about wanting to, there you go, Elizabeth, hidden agendas. When people talk about wanting to communicate, like some of the things I shared that were the comments, like for example, communication and comprehension. That's pretty straightforward. I don't ever really, I don't ever really think communication is typically always the issue. Nor do I think comprehension is always the issue.
Yeah.
And I'm going to get into what I really think the issue is in a minute. But we got, for example, handling a disagreement. Well, if you're in a disagreement and you're approaching the conversation in regards to this disagreement, are y'all both communicating about the same thing? Are y'all communicating from the same perspective? Are y'all communicating from the place of, hey, this is what we're establishing in this conversation? We have too many conversations that are not really set up to be successful. So the first tip I want to tell y'all is, if you're going to have a conversation, make sure you set the conversation up to be successful.
Gloria, you said something important too. A lot of people, when we have conversations or when we're communicating, I would say that's one important thing, that it doesn't feel like how are you presenting the conversation? If it feels like the person is feeling like it's like you did this and you did that and yada yada yada. If you're communicating it ineffectively about just how they're doing it versus you can just say me, myself, like I feel as though this happened because of this. Am I correct? Is this the thing? Like just thinking of those things like, not attacking the individual, because a lot of us will go into a conversation saying you were wrong for this and you did that, and then we don't take blame for anything, or we don't even take ourselves, put ourselves in the equation, and they feel attacked. So that could be a reason why your husband may not want to have that conversation. Yeah,
it's very important that we understand that when we're about to have a conversation, you have to make sure you don't make it personal. Because the question is the goal to get to a solution, or is the goal to let them know how you feel?
Yeah.
Because if you're communicating just so they can know how you feel, you have to approach that conversation appropriately. You have to say, hey, listen, I just want to get some things off my chest, and I want you to listen.
Yeah.
Is that okay?
Right.
You can't just set up a conversation and just go, well, you made me feel and you shooting Uzis and machine guns, right?
Yeah.
Let me give you a few good forms of communication. You have quality communication. You have verbal communication, face-to-face, formal, crucial, intentional, positive, selfless. All of these are good aspects of communication. Let me give you some bad ones. And this is what a lot of people do. This is how a lot of people communicate. Fearful communication. So you're in defense mode. Manipulative communication. You've already planned how you're going to approach the conversation, attack the conversation, and wiggle your way in on the side and sucker punch in the conversation. And then you play on the emotions of the person in your conversation, right? That's manipulative. You have exhaustive communication, to where you've talked about this too much without a break.
Oh, man.
You have nonverbal communication, which can be very dangerous.
Yeah.
You have minimizing communication. You have selfish communication. You have lazy communication, right? You have all of these different aspects that go into what we would call bad communication, right? How do you communicate when one spouse resents taking the entire... Now, Teresa, that's a whole loaded question. I want you to inbox us and let's talk about that, okay? Yeah. I want you to inbox us so we can talk about that. My spouse is not a good communicator. Oftentimes he is silent when I'm in sister soldier mode. Oh, man. So listen.
Is it a good time to set up?
No, that's old.
No, I know, but I just wanted you didn't see it.
Yeah, that's fine.
You didn't answer. Oh.
That's fine. So.
Oops, sorry, y'all.
My wife is doing too much as always.
I'm touching stuff. See, this one.
All right. So now listen. When it comes to communication, I want to go over a few things, okay? Number one, good communicators talking to bad listeners results in bad communication. Good communicators talking to bad listeners results in bad communication. Good listeners don't always make good communicators, though. Okay? Good communicators don't always make good listeners.
Yeah.
Listen to what I just said. Good listeners don't always make good communicators. But good communicators don't always make good listeners. The question is, which one are you? Now, I know you're going to, people, they're not going to be shy. But the reality is, the question is, are you humble enough to know where your strength is and where your weakness is? Okay? So here's the reality. Here's the number one question you need to be able to ask yourself before you go into another conversation in your marriage. Are you an easy person to talk to? Are you an easy person to talk to? And you need to be honest. You need to look in the mirror and ask yourself, am I an easy person to talk to? On an average day, am I an easy person to come to and bring something to? Can my spouse bring me a problem? Can my spouse bring me an issue? Can my spouse bring me something that, you know what, I don't know if I'm going to really react or like this, but I'm going to keep it together for the sake of the marriage so I can hear my spouse out. Are you an easy person to talk to? When you're mad, when you're angry, when you're frustrated, when you're irritated, are you easy to talk to? The answer should be yes, and I'm going to tell you why. Your emotional state should not determine whether or not you can have a conversation. You're going to get this work today. Your emotional state should not, that's immaturity. What do we tell children all the time? Control your emotions. You can't hit people just because you're mad. So you're a grown adult and doing the same thing with your words.
Okay.
See, what we have to understand is this, right? Let me calm down. This is what we have to understand. When it comes to communication, your emotional state should not, 90% of the time, your emotional state should not determine whether or not you can have a conversation. Because as a mature adult, you should have learned and you should be working towards being able. Now, it takes time. Nobody's perfect. So don't trip, okay? Cool. But you can't take 50 years to get to, you can't do that. You need to put some effort into it. Mm-hmm. You need to put some urgency into it. Because your marriage is depending on it. Yeah. Can I just tell y'all the truth? I'm just telling the truth.
Tell them the truth, man.
You know how exhausting it is to have to figure out whether or not okay, I'm gonna speak first person, right? You know how exhausting it is to say, I wonder if my spouse is in the right mind frame to talk. I wonder if my spouse is mad today. I wonder if my spouse is irritated. Can I bring this today? Oh, I gotta wait for the right time. It is exhausting to have to figure out the right time, the right day, the right hour, the right moment, come on. That is exhausting. So when it comes to communication, the first question we have to ask is, am I easy to talk to? If you're not easy to talk to, I'm gonna go to church real quick. So, right, you know how last week we had all those hearts and stuff going and likes. Yeah, I got one amen. I got one amen in the corner. I got another one in the back. Oh yeah, we can get this work today because this is about improving our marriages, right? So watch this. When it comes to marriage, the question becomes, am I easy to talk to? And am I still equally as easy to talk to if I'm not in the best of moods? Yeah. And what I'm encouraging you all to do is become emotionally stable enough to be able to communicate with your spouse about different subject matter or topics, regardless of the emotional state you're in currently. Mm-hmm. Because here's what I've seen happen a lot of times with my clients, right? If someone can't talk at 1 o'clock, okay, now you got to wait till after work. Well, what if you're frustrated after work? Now you got to wait because you can't talk when you're frustrated. So now you got to wait till the next day. And then, today is a bad day. And then you're tired. Then you got to wait till the next day. Before you know it, one spouse is going to feel like, dang, like you keep putting me off.
A whole year?
So now,
we gotta talk about this a year later.
Yeah. So now you're getting into the territory of being dismissed, and feeling neglected, and feeling like I'm not important. Well, if we could be mature enough to have a conversation, even when I'm tired, even when I don't feel like it, even when it's not the perfect timing, if I can do that and remain emotionally stable, then I won't run into these other issues. Let me keep going, right? Now.
Look at this.
Yeah, I know. We missing all the comments.
Sorry,
because my wife It's touching everything.
First of all.
So let's go through these comments real quick. My wife don't just bottling it up. Oh, you can't bottle stuff up. 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 Okay? We can't bottle stuff up. Okay? Now, let's keep going. Okay, you're an easy person, but my answer is too blunt. Okay. So let's talk about that. If somebody is too blunt in their response, you just have to work on your gentleness, right? For example, with a baby, if you're burping a baby, you want to, gently burp the baby, right?
Good job, Mom.
You want to gently burp the baby.
Good job.
Now, if it's a 7-year-old, right, and he got some stuff in his chest,
No.
you just
No.
punch him in his chest.
No.
Okay? But listen. But the thing is in communication, I'm gonna give y'all some tips real quick. The more you change the subject, the more tired you will get in the conversation.
Yes, I
You
definitely
yeah.
agree on that, because you know what, you think about it, like especially when you're in an argument or you're having a conversation and you're talking about this, that, this, and you're just like, okay, so which one do you want me to work with? Especially with men, because they're like, okay, so they done clocked out. Like, okay, so what do we talk about here? So
Yeah. Let me respond.
Can we get back to the to the point at hand? Why are we having this conversation?
Yeah. I want to get to these comments real quick. Trying to keep the peace, bottling stuff up as well. Here's the issue with bottling stuff up. Okay. It's a catch-22. I know. I wish that every spouse, two people, could be mature and deal with situations and stuff like that. But I'm gonna tell you though, bottling stuff up is not healthy, because here's what's going to happen. Well, one of the things that will happen. In keeping the peace, you'll lose the peace within yourself.
Yeah.
In keeping the peace in your home, you're going to lose peace within yourself. So now what happens is, when there's peace in the home but not in you, there's a war.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
You can't do that.
Right.
And it's not wise to do that. You have to be able to tell your spouse, listen, I'm going to share my heart. It's not your responsibility. Okay. I'm trying to be nice. But it's not your responsibility to make up for someone else's immaturity.
Yes. And it's true. It's like, and then that's where it also comes in. How are you communicating? Is it like you might have to find a different way to communicate it? Because sometimes, if you just got to get it off in the text message, like, look, this is what I got to say. I got to get it out, blah, blah, blah. If you want to talk about it later, bam. If you want to write a note, just say, hey, this is this is how I feel. This is da-da-da. Can you read it later? We can talk about it. But you have to find a way to communicate it outwardly so that you can be able to effectively get it out. At least it's been presented, and what the other individual or your spouse does with it is going to be on them. So that's where you have to come to a median where at least you were able to get it out for yourself, because now you're able to say, okay, I brought this to the table. Now what are we going to do with it? And now the ball is in their court to be able to either take it in, want to communicate about it. If they ignore it, then that's a whole another story. But being able to give that information or putting that out there so that you know that you're not keeping it inside, because like you said, it's going to be a war on the inside. You're going to be, and it's going to come to the point where you're going to explode like a bomb, and you don't want that. So it's better to just let it out. Even if you have like a little notebook or notepad that I love notepads. I'm not a writer, but I got notebooks everywhere. I like to write down everything, my thoughts and everything that I talk when I'm thinking, because it helps me to be able to at least get it out and put it out there so I can look at it, because even I can present it a different way too. So if I'm writing, say, because I write the guide, so if I'm like, God, this day and yada 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 yada, and then I'm able to look at reread it, look at it, and say, oh, well, I can present it this way now. I got how I first felt out of the way, and now I'm able to present it in a different way, in a better format, so that like that was my rough draft. Now I'm able to present my final draft to the individual or to the situation or whatever it is, so that I can effectively communicate it the way I need to. Because usually our first thoughts are our worst thoughts, our worst words, the worst things that we can ever say. That's why it's like in arguments or conversations, you have to, things come out that we normally don't want to come out, because we're just spitting it out and like, oh, this is how I feel, oh, I'm just blunt, or this is just me, when you're not thinking about the other individual or the person that you're presenting it to. And you have to be able to take it and be like, okay, let me digress, let me get out of this emotion right now and be able to say, okay, this is how I'm going to present it now. That was kind of harsh. I shouldn't have said it like that.
Let's spend some time right there real quick, right? Let's stay here real quick, because people are saying, yeah, this is a big issue, right? People who are shutting down or staying silent to keep the peace.
Yeah.
Now, there's two ways we can attack this conversation. The first one is, if you're keeping the peace because your spouse is not able to handle conversations, or they have character flaws or issues like anger or pettiness or childishness, whatever the case may be, right? You still can't be silent, because the resentment is going to grow in you. You're going to be at war within yourself. You're going to lose the peace within yourself. So as my wife said, you got to find other avenues to get it out, or to get it to them.
Yeah.
Here's the first thing I want to suggest. Number one, learn different approaches to communicating with your spouse.
Yeah.
One of the things I want to encourage everybody to do is this. Sit your spouse down, right? Take them somewhere nice, a dinner, a little getaway, or whatever, and sit them down and hear what I'm about to say. You got to do this the right way, okay? Sit them down. It can be in your house, in the backyard, a little getaway, a dinner, whatever, and just say, I'm having a hard time talking to you. What is the easiest way to talk to you? And let them just share their heart. That's one way.
Or win, too.
Right? Or win, right? Or win.
Well.
Or win, for the sake of this conversation. Or win, okay? But here's the other thing. Now, here's the other side of the coin, and I need you to be flexible with me. It may be possible that they not the issue. It could be possible that they might not be the only issue. I've seen, dealing with clients, I've seen a lot of situations where one spouse is saying the other person, you can't talk to them, they don't listen anymore. And it's because, and when you really get into the conversation, it's because the other person has been beaten down, abused, attacked. And so they also retreated, and they're also being silent, and they're also just shutting up, and they're also like, so we have to be open-minded to both ends of the spectrum. Every marriage is different, and we would have to directly talk to you specifically about your situation, because when you talk about communication, we're talking about a broad subject. But sometimes it's not just the person who you don't seem to get through to. I want to answer this question from Prince, though. Prince Kelvin. How do you keep yourself from shutting down if you feel like it's not going to come out right? Here is the first thing you have to be able to do, okay? You have to understand within yourself that I have to always be putting in some effort to learn various ways to communicate a thought. Communication is a transfer of information. Communication is a transfer of information, okay? So you have to be able to figure out multiple ways, and within yourself, study multiple ways to get a thought out, to get a feeling out, okay? And communicating a thought and communicating a feeling are two different things. But we try to do it in the same breath, and it's not. That's not how it works. But here's the other side of the coin. When you're with someone and you have to put so much energy and effort into what you're going to say, how you're going to say it, when you're going to say it, where you're going to say it, and you got to tiptoe, and you got to think of the perfect sentence and the perfect wording and the perfect tone and the perfect body language, but that's exhausting. And you need to sit your spouse down and say, listen, I don't have as much energy as I would like to put into the thought of when, where, how, the tone, my facial expressions, my body language. I'm not perfect at controlling everything about me, okay? But when I talk, I just want you to hear what the words that are coming out of my mouth. Yeah. Don't read my body all the time.
Right.
Don't read my face all the time. Just listen to what I'm saying to you. That's the type of communication, right? And that's how honest we have to be, okay? Right? But it makes me angry because he can't be reached. Just okay, man. Okay, I understand, Daphne. Inbox us, so let's set up a session. Inbox us. We got a free consultation you can take advantage of. Many people don't know themselves well to answer how they need to be communicated with.
Yeah, that's true.
That's right, Sue. That's right, Sue. Right? There you go, Daphne. Hear me now, all this stuff. I want to get to something real quick. The topic is, right, the second part of the topic tonight is effective communication. Ladies, you're about to hate what I'm about to say. Let me just tell you now. You're about to hate everything I'm about to say. Okay? Appreciate you, Prince. Okay? Appreciate it. Connect. I hope I said that right. So listen. Ladies, you about to hate what I'm about to say. We're going to get into this right now. Okay? My wife probably going to hate this too. The definition of effective is what?
Effective.
To be successful. To be successful in achieving and producing the desired and intended result. That's what it means. To produce the desired result. So when we talk about having effective communication, we need to get to the desired result. Okay, follow me. Well, when I looked up the thesaurus, Queen C, beautiful,
Queen C.
right?
Oh,
when I looked up the word effective in the thesaurus, the first word that came about was efficient, which means skillful. So, when we talk about having effective communication, we're talking about being skillful in our communication. It's like basketball, like football. Are you skillful on the tennis court? Are you skillful in the swimming pool? Are you skillful on the track? When you're doing art, it's about a skill. Most people don't develop the skill of communication. So how can you be effective in communicating when you haven't perfected the skill? Because communicating is an art. It's a skill. And if there's no effort, I encourage all married couples to learn how to communicate together in some sort of class or something, okay? Now listen. The other word that's a synonym for communication, effective, okay? You all right?
It's like something poked me.
Oh. Something poked my wife. Make sure you know. Okay. Someone, I guess it's her shirt. Probably still tag on it, knowing my wife.
You know
so listen. So listen. Another synonym for effective is direct. Ladies, we about to go down this road. Fellas, you too. But let's just listen. Direct.
So you off the ladies now?
Direct. I'm just going to let it be for whoever it applies to.
Okay.
But I know ladies going to hate this. Direct. Okay? Effective communication means being direct. Direct. Another word for direct is to the point. To the point. I hope you know where we're going. Now watch this.
Oh my gosh.
So... Right? So when we talk about communication, direct. Okay?
Please don't hype him up, y'all.
So let's look at direct. The most effective way to communicate through an issue is to be direct, which means moving from one place to another the shortest way possible. The shortest way possible. To get to the desired, desired result. Now follow me, okay?
Do not.
So if you want to have an effective conversation, you can't communicate with your feelings involved.
Says who? Every now and again.
Because your feelings gonna take you north, south, east, west, northeast, southwest. Your feelings gonna take you to Antarctica, back to New York. Your feelings gonna take you here, there, and everywhere in the conversation. You cannot communicate from an emotional place.
Yeah.
You can't. You can't do it. Why? Because we're trying to have an effective communication. Here's the other reason. Feelings are deterrents in communication. When you're communicating about a subject, men are speaking. I don't want to be. Okay. Let me be. I don't want to be gender specific. Let me be general. There are people that will communicate from logic, and there's people that communicate from feelings.
Yeah.
I am of the mindset that when you're having a conversation to get to a desired result, you need to have more logic than feelings. Why? Because the logic is going to lead you to the desired place. Okay? Why? When it comes to feelings, you're going to deter a lot. Because in the midst of the conversation, when you hear something you don't like, it's going to touch your feelings a certain way. It's going to touch your feelings a certain way, right? She loved the Kappa stroll. I'm not going to stroll, okay? I'm not going to stroll.
But you was,
Shout out to the noobs. So listen.
Oh my God.
So listen. Feelings will take you so many different places. By the time you get to the point, you're exhausted and you ain't got nowhere.
Yeah.
Okay? You haven't gotten anywhere. Now, let me say this. I'm not telling you to be a robot and not feel anything. What I'm saying is you have to learn how to be emotionally stable enough to have a conversation and communicate to the desired result so that you're not deterred here, there, and everywhere, and you never get to the desired end that you want. Because feelings will deter a conversation. Feelings intervene with the conversation. Feelings slow down the conversation. Feelings will misdirect the conversation. Feelings will change the conversation altogether. I'm telling y'all, your feelings will change the conversation. We're talking about groceries, and before you know it, we're talking about divorce in the middle of an alleyway because you said make a left and pull the car over. How do you go from groceries to divorce in an alley? Because feelings got involved.
Yep.
Why is this important to know? When it comes to communication, right? We have to understand that at the end of the day, I'm having this conversation because I care. I'm having this conversation because I love you. I'm willing to communicate with you, but you can't attack me. I can't attack you. We can't let feelings get involved. We have to, and now I know this is a lot of information at one time, but here's the overall point. Great communicators are emotionally stable. Great communicators are emotionally stable because they can control their thoughts so that they can stay focused on the subject matter in the conversation. Emotionally stable people won't let one comment throw them off mentally in the middle of a conversation. A lot of times, I'm gonna just talk now. Let me close.
So what do you say? What do you say about someone that says they're a great communicator, but they're still emotionally?
You can be emotional. You can be an emotional person and not let it affect the conversation because you have self-control. Like, for example, there's many times where I'm having a conversation and I want to get angry or I want to yell, I want to do different things, right?
When?
Trust me, it be there. But what I have to realize is I have to just calm down, set my mind on the conversation, right? I don't know if this will be shareable. I think it's because it's a private group. It's not going to be shareable. I'm not sure, but maybe we can put it on another page or YouTube. We can figure it out. But when you're so let's get into the heart of it, right? Because we're about to finish up, right? When we're having, we're way over time. When we're having a conversation, right? We can put it on the page, actually. We can strip it and put it on the page to make it shareable. When we're having a conversation, a lot of times we lose sight of the fact that we love each other.
Yeah.
When we're having a conversation, we're communicating to somebody based on what we want. And that's a big problem. If we were to be honest, right? A lot of times when you bring a subject matter to your spouse to communicate, you're trying to get what you want. Even if that thing is a good thing, it's still what you want.
Yeah.
And we have to be able to take into account what two people want.
But isn't that the whole point of the conversation, though?
It is. But if we approach the conversation and we stay directly internally on what I want, I won't open myself up to hear my spouse and what they want. Here's why disagreements happen. Because I don't get what I want.
Mm-hmm.
What do you do when you're disagreeing? What do you do when disagreement? Now, see, I'm giving y'all seminar stuff now. Y'all had to come to the seminar. But to answer my wife's question, the reason we do communicate is so that we can come to a common ground. But most people argue a lot because they aren't getting their way.
Yeah.
I could give you stories.
On both parties, right?
Exactly. I can give you a story right now. This was about 6-7 years ago. I was doing a counseling session for a couple. They weren't engaged, nor were they married. They were trying to be boyfriend and girlfriend. They were trying their best. And we sat down and we had a session about 7 years ago. I've been doing this for a while now. And I remember the young lady said, she said, I don't like him liking all these pictures on Instagram. I said, okay, so have y'all had a conversation about it? They said, yeah, but we just get into arguments about it. Now, why do you think they're arguing about it? I'm going to tell you why they argued about it. She wanted him to stop, and he said, it's my social media page. I don't see nothing wrong with it. So what do you do when she want him to stop, and he say no? Then what? You know what I told them? This is what I told the young lady. I said, sweetheart, you've communicated your thoughts and your feelings, okay? So now you got a decision to make. Is this a deal breaker or not? Are you going to walk away and break up with him or not? Now, whatever you choose, you got to live with it. Is this worth walking away from a good relationship over? That's what she had to ask herself. She had to answer that. Because what happens is, if you present your thoughts and feelings with an expectation that they're going to do what you want and then they don't do it, now you got to decide, are you going to be mad about it? Mm-hmm. Are they going to have to deal with your attitude for the next 2 weeks because they didn't do what you wanted? You think somebody want to deal with that all the time? No. Yeah. So what do you do when the other person does not do what you want? Now you got to make some decisions, okay? And maybe we can get more into that in the seminar. But long story short, they broke up because he said no. And she said, you know what? I don't want to deal with that. Mm-hmm. And that's what just happened. And there was other things going on. But the point is, I'm just making this point that when you're dealing with a conversation and you don't get your way, sometimes you have to be okay with that and you have to live with it and be happy. You can't pout and complain and moan and make the whole house a war zone just because you didn't get your way. Mm-hmm. That's immature. Mm-hmm. I missed a lot of comments. Let me back up a little bit. Let me see. Do zodiac signs play a role in communicating? Just asking. So here's the reality. Matter of fact, hit me up on the side. We'll talk about that. Hit me up. Inbox me. I tell my husband we are not the problem. The problem is the problem. I like that. Oh, get their way about. So what I meant by get their way, meaning, let's just say you're having a conversation and you want to buy a car, and the spouse is like, nah, we don't need a car right now. Well, now what are you going to do? Get mad because the spouse don't want the car? So meaning just get your way. It can be any subject matter. It's hard to communicate with a spouse that has mental issues that they're not dealing with. This is now, Gloria, that's a whole nother world. Mm-hmm. Inbox me. We'll talk about that because that is a different situation. Last question. I was asked, what is more important to you, being happy or being right? Do you have to argue and fight? You have to argue and fight when you're happy? Do you have to argue and fight to be right? These are all great questions, Sue.
Yeah.
Is there no common ground? Great question, Nate. Yes, there is common ground. So let me give you an example and then we'll be done. So in that situation, there was no common ground because the whole Instagram thing was a deal breaker. Now, here is the reality. Liking the pictures was not the problem. It was the girl's insecurity. Okay? Yep. Now, some people will view it and say, hey, it's a lack of respect. Why are you liking other girls' pictures? Whatever floats your boat, however you feel, we all going to have differences of opinion about that. But there is a way to find common ground. For example, in that situation, the young man could have said, you know what? I'll stop liking pictures of women. But I won't stop liking some women, right? You know? He could have said, you know what? I'll only like pictures of females that I know. Right? There's always ways to find common ground, right? But I think for him, it was more so of, I'm not doing anything wrong. I'm not cheating on you. If I like a picture, I'm just going to like it. These women aren't even naked. It's not even nothing that big a deal in his mind. So, but there is ways to find common ground.
Yeah.
Okay? There is ways to find common ground. So I'm going to leave you all with this note. Okay? When it comes to communication, you need to address the honest innermost parts about yourself. When it comes to communicating, you have to learn the person you're married to. Now, that may not sound deep, but I'm going to tell you why it is. Every day, your spouse is growing. Every day, your spouse is changing. Every day, your spouse is evolving, transforming, growing to some degree. Their views are going to change. Their feelings are going to change. Different things are going to, happen, right? You have to be able to understand that in communicating, you have to every single day, to the best of your ability, or, every so often, just sit down and have a conversation. And man, we need to have another one. We haven't had one in a while. Where are you right now? Where are you mentally?
What
right?
Y'all talk about?
Where are you mentally? How are you feeling? Just do a temperature check, right? But you have to learn your spouse every single day. You have to learn them every month, every year. Because a lot of times you're approaching a conversation based on how you think they are now. But actually, that's how they used to be, right? So we gave you a lot of good information. The website is pinned, www.tryforeverlove.com. We appreciate you all for tuning in. I'm Artist. This is Zedoria. Before we go, though, I want to give y'all some announcements. July 24th, Black Marriage Club is going to be in Houston for the brunch. Winning Wives Brunch in Houston. Yeah, okay? Now, number 2, August 7th, Atlanta, your event is sold out. Sold out. Appreciate you all. August 29th. Guess what? DMV, your event is sold out. Your event is sold out. Listen, we also got an ambassador's call coming up. July. What's the
26th?
July. Let me pull it up because I forgot the date that quick. July.
Don't worry, Natalie. We have more. Where are you located? Where are you? You're in Atlanta? Oh. We'll have more, definitely. 28th.
July 28th. July 28th, we have a brand ambassador's call. So if you are interested in being a brand ambassador, okay, for Black Marriage Club in your local city. And what is a brand ambassador? A brand ambassador is someone who is a spokesperson on behalf of Black Marriage Club. You'll also be an individual that will be helping us curate events and things going on in your city. Okay? So listen, we got a lot of great things popping for Black Marriage Club. We're trying to come to a city near you and plant a chapter, okay? And the brand ambassadors are our way to do that. So if you want to be a brand ambassador for Black Marriage Club, and it's a lot of cities we're not in yet. We're only in Vegas, DMV, Miami, Houston, Atlanta. And so if you didn't hear those, guess what? We're trying to get to your city, and we need you to do that. So you can inbox me, okay? And I can point you in the right direction, and we can have a conversation, and we can get you going and get you set up to understand what it takes to be a brand ambassador. And if you are chosen, we're going to do great things together.
Yes, I can't wait.
I don't think I'm missing anything. Yes, Cleveland, Mobile, Alabama. Where else? A lot of we definitely ATL. So listen, we're trying to come everywhere we can, okay? Now, unfortunately, Vegas, we had to postpone our event, right? But we're going to plan another one in a few weeks, okay? And we're going to get those emails out to you so we can get everybody to our meet and greet in Vegas, okay?
We're trying to get out to New York.
Memphis, yes, we're trying to get there. New York, we're trying to get there. Yeah. Minneapolis, we're trying to get there. Listen, the way we get there is through brand ambassadors.
We need your help.
We need your help, okay? ATL and DMV pole dancing class coming October 2nd.
I'm going to be in there.
My wife is turned off. So listen, Detroit, we're trying to get to Detroit too. All these cities we're trying to get to, but we need brand ambassadors. So we need you to help us, BMC, get to your city. So let's do it, man. Let's make it happen.
Yeah.
And as we close out, okay? Oh, it's okay, Sue. You can still inbox me. Let's talk, okay? I still think you can be useful.
Yeah.
I still think you can be helpful because we're always looking for moderators. We're always looking for people who are just great, kind-hearted people in Black Marriage Club. You will not be judged by your situation, okay? You will not be judged by your situation, okay? Divorce is a tough situation. We're not gonna judge you about it or beat you down about it. We just want to work closely with you, and maybe you can still be useful in helping us get to the city that you are in. But let me close out with this. Love your spouse.
Yes.
Love your spouse. Every time you communicate with your spouse, let it be watch the headline, watch the headline, watch the headline. You know, my headline, you know. My hair. Okay, I'm a lion. Okay, the mane, okay. Listen, Winter Wise prayer this Wednesday on the IG Live, okay, this Wednesday coming up. Every time you talk to your spouse, let it be an opportunity to just, I can't say that. Let it be an opportunity to come closer. Let it be an opportunity to grow, right? Let it be an opportunity to really, understand each other. Y'all, life is short. Don't spend it arguing. Just arguing. Y'all, life's too short. How long are you going to talk about those problems? How long are you going to argue about the same issues? You know you can't do nothing about yesterday, right?
Right.
You can't do nothing about the past.
Right.
You can't do nothing about the history.
Right.
You have to let things go. See, Prince trying to start an argument. We're in our 4th year.
We've been married for 3 years.
We're in our 4th year.
3 years.
Did we complete 3?
We complete 3.
And we're in what? Year
no,
number what?
We're going to be.
Are we in year number 4?
How long?
Are we in year number 4?
How long did you say I do?
3 and some change, which
Okay,
means
exactly.
we're in
3
4.
years. Thank you.
See, let me show you how to communicate.
Thank you very much.
Let me show you how to communicate.
Thank you very
You're
much.
wrong. I'm right.
Wrong.
So listen, how long you gonna deal with, come on, y'all. Forgive. Let go. Y'all, you can't spend eternity on the past, okay? But Prince, we've been together, we've been married 3 years and some change. We've been together for about 6 years now, going on 7 years. It's a beautiful thing, a lot of good, a little bit of bad, but a lot of great things,
Yeah, about
that.
That's a whole nother story.
Now, to be honest, we ain't had a lot of bad.
No.
We've had some disagreements, some misunderstandings that we had to communicate through. She's right. It's just
Thank you, Erna. Thank you. Thank you.
You know, but the beautiful thing is we don't argue.
She can't take them no more, even online.
Yeah, man. You know, marriage is a beautiful thing. And I'm happy to be able to help others, you know, through my experience. And I've been helping married couples for years now, man. So I just take all that experience that I have and I put it in my marriage. My wife does the same thing. My wife's passion is actually family dynamics. She loves to see families come together, like the mom, the daughter, the son, the father, the children, you know, stepchildren. So seeing that whole dynamic. Mine is more so of singles, dating, engaged and married. So we got a nice little thing going here. TryForeverLove.com is pinned at the top.
All your relationship needs.
Shout out to BMC for allowing us. But we're way over our time.
Yes.
My boss is going to reprimand me.
Yes.
Yeah, I know. I was helping married couples before I was even married. I know, man. Time is flying. You know. Don't fire me. I went over the time. Okay? Nah, I'm playing. Love y'all.
Love y'all.
See y'all next week.